Greetings, my scattered sisters and brothers in the Lord. Trust you know the Lord is with you wherever you find yourself scattered today, and you know that his presence with you is more than enough for whatever you might face today. Well, we continue on in 1 Kings, and when we last left off, chapter 19, we had Elisha answering the call to ministry and leaving everything behind and going with Elijah. But now Elijah doesn't show up again until chapter 21. So we have chapter 20, a one chapter break from the story of Elijah. And we know that Elisha is following him now. And what happens in this chapter 20 break from Elijah is we have three stories kind of pressed together. Stories about King Ahab. And story number one, King Ahab gets word that the Arameans and their king, his name is Ben-Hadad, that they've lined up and they're going to go to war with him. And so the Lord sends an unnamed man of God to King Ahab and tells him that, nope, the Lord's going to give victory to Ahab. The Lord's watching over the Israelites. The Arameans will not prevail. And King Ahab wants to know how it's going to happen. And the man of God tells King Ahab to use the junior officers to attack and victory will come. And he does this and they win. A year later, Ben-Hadad and the Arameans come back and they're going to fight again. They think the reason why they lost is because they fought in the hill country and that the Lord is God of the hill country. But they're thinking that if they get him in the plains, that they're going to be victorious, that the Lord's strength is only limited to the hill country. The man of God is sent back by the Lord to King Ahab and tells him that, hey, I'm going to give you victory again. And so sure enough, victory happens. And this time, King Ahab even is able to take captive Ben-Hadad, the king of the Arameans. And he should put him to death, but he doesn't. Instead, he makes a treaty with him and allows him to live. And so the Lord sends a prophet to King Ahab, telling him that he should have put him to death, that was the Lord's intentions. And so his life for the life of the man that he should have put to death. And King Ahab, instead of being able to celebrate victory, actually goes home to Samaria downcast and frustrated and angry. And so those are the three stories that are all kind of pressed together. And I think that there are three lessons that we are to learn, at least three, from this chapter. And so the first one is that the Lord has unnamed people, an unnamed man of God, an unnamed prophet. And we hear this kind of in contrast to Elijah. Elijah has such a powerful name as a minister, as a prophet, and yet he had felt like he was all alone. And what we're seeing here is the truth that the Lord had told him, that I have 7,000 that haven't bowed the knee to Baal. You're not all alone. And so here we see two of those 7,000, an unnamed man of God and an unnamed prophet. And I think one of the takeaways from this is that maybe you and I don't really identify all that well with Elijah because, his ministry is kind of high press. And our ministries, for the most part, pretty low press, unnamed men of God, unnamed women of God, unnamed prophets, unnamed ministers of the word. And so just realize that even if you're kind of quote unquote unnamed, the Lord knows you and the Lord is using you wherever you find yourself scattered. You may just be that unnamed man of God, that unnamed woman of God, that the Lord has you in a strategic place for a particular time. And what matters is that you listen to the Lord and you don't get frustrated or caught up that you don't have a household name like Elijah. Okay, so that's kind of one lesson. Okay, the second lesson is that the Lord, through the man of God, twice tells Ahab that he's going to grant victory so that Ahab will know who the Lord is. You'll know I am the Lord when victory happens. And so the victory is to be a revelatory moment. God wants to be known. And so in both cases, victory is given, and Ahab should learn his lesson that, wow, the Lord is the one who saves. The Lord is the one who grants victory. The Lord is the one who is powerful. And this is a lesson that he should have learned from Elijah already. And so we see God's desire that his people, that the king of his people would actually know who the Lord is. Important for us to take that away, that the Lord wants to reveal himself, wants us to grow in our knowledge of who he is, our knowledge that is through Christ that we have salvation, that is through Christ that we have hope for each day, that is through Christ that victory comes and even death is conquered. And so the Lord wants us to know who he is and wants us to grow in that knowledge. Okay, third thing. Ultimately, this chapter break from Elijah reminds us that the story is not about Elijah, that the story is about the Lord. The unnamed man of God, the unnamed prophet, the revelation to Ahab, you'll know that I am the Lord. All this reminds us that the story really isn't about Elijah. It is about the Lord. And that's something for us to take away, because it's easy for us to kind of get wrapped up in our own stories, if you will, and to begin to kind of subtly think that, hey, it's all about me or it's all about us. And this chapter break from Elijah refocuses us on the Lord. That the story's not about Elijah, the story's about the Lord. The story's not about you, the story is about the Lord. The story's not about me, it's about the Lord. It's not about our ministries. It's not about our works, whether they're, Elijah-sized in terms of popularity or like the unnamed man of God. Not about us. It's about the Lord. So wherever you find yourself scattered today, trusting that you'll have a God-blessed day and that you will remember especially that it's about the Lord and his story. And may the Lord use you however he sees fit, named or unnamed, to carry on his story of salvation. God bless.